So if you walk into a local CVS here, how would you guys be treated differently?
Well, they would probably say hello, and they would probably like just walk, like let me in, and like not follow me, and then
So these are a
if
lot of probablys. I don't believe you, but I'm talking about laws, right? So what in the legal code of America can you as a white individual do that the black individual can't? Because systemic means it's in our code, right? It's for example, like Jim Crow, totally get it. That's systemic racism. What is systemically your advantage?
maybe like housing codes, because I know redlining isn't a thing anymore, but there is like isn't there people who are white are more likely to be given loans because of like they have less like I don't know that's just the like it's back from redlining, like it's a lot of the same stuff.
So I don't buy into any of that. So I just kind of go.
You don't buy into redlining, or you
No,
don't
I
buy
don't buy
that
into
it's
redlining. I don't buy any of that stuff that happens today. In fact, it's the opposite. Loans are now given favorably to black Americans in certain cities over white Americans.
okay, but let's,
So we
you
could,
think
because of
redline.
I believe in, I know redlining existed.
Okay,
I don't
okay.
debate that. Of course I have. But because of DEI and because of affirmative action, there's actually a preference given. But so let's go back to fathers, right?
Okay, let's go back to
So
fathers.
something happened to black America since 1965. So in 1965, so
You mean the war on drugs?
right, well, so if that's your contention, that's fine. So in order to go to jail for the war on drugs, you have to be dealing drugs, right? Or you have to be caught with drugs. So if you don't
Yeah,
want
which is one of like the main jobs that you can have in a like poverty-stricken. Like if there's no jobs, like you're going to do drugs. I mean, you're gonna trade drugs
no,
because
it's-
that's
it's
the only
such a,
option
it's
you
such
have.
a difference in worldview. You're making excuses for criminals.
Yeah,
and what
basically.
what an insult to poor immigrants that came to this country that didn't commit crimes and worked 2 or 3 jobs and worked themselves out of poverty and didn't decide to go deal coke.
Well, my father is a white immigrant from Poland, and he committed crimes, and he's fine now. So
Did he go to jail?
yeah, he
I
did.
thought there was systemic racism. I thought that doesn't happen very much.
I never said white people don't go to jail. I said they go more, and you're saying that white immigrants are fine and they don't.
No,
I'm
that's
saying
far
that they
less
do.
actually. I'm glad he went to jail if he committed a crime. I think it's terrible.
Yeah,
So,
well-
but at the core of it, we have a difference in worldview, right? My worldview is I'm not sympathetic to people that steal, that loot, and murder, because that's a values problem, and I don't like making excuses for people that do things that are obviously destructive. Secondly, we have a problem in Black America. The biggest problem is not racism. It's the lack of dads. If dads are around, kids flourish. And you know who agreed with me? Barack Obama. Barack Obama used to make this a central piece of his campaign. He came to this campus back in 2012, drew like a 100,000 person crowd, and talked about how we need to rebuild the black family and put dads back. Why doesn't the Democrat Party talk about that anymore?
I'm fine with having
No,
fathers.
no,
I'm not against having black dads.
For sure. I'm saying, but don't we agree? Has anyone heard that mentioned on the national scale in the last 10 years? Yeah, I mean, we've heard about
Probably
like,
not.
yeah, and
Because
why
there's
is that?
bigger issues.
No, there isn't. See, that's the issue, is that this is what makes us different. As a conservative, I focus on if you have family breakdown, don't worry about climate change, don't worry about systemic racism. All that stuff is like these crazy
What do
abstractions.
you think create family problems? Systemic racism creates family problems. If you take away black people from their families, then they're going to have
Right.
broken families.
Okay, so, but that's interesting. How are you taking them away? Aren't they leaving? They're not staying with the women they're impregnating. So, for example, there 13% of the population is black. Not every single person ends up in jail, obviously, and yet there's huge child abandonment because there's a cultural expectation that is different in Black America than in White America, which is it's okay to impregnate a woman and abandon her in Black America. It's not
based on what? What is that based on?
That's a good question. Where does it come from? It's just based on.
No, I'm saying what is that like your view of Black America?
Well, it's not a view. It's true. I mean, don't take my word for it. Look at Thomas Sowell and Shelby Steele that have done amazing analysis on this. It's that in black culture, that is not considered to be a stigma. In white upper middle class culture, for those of you that grew up in Waukesha or Libertyville or grew up in Hinsdale or grew up in Naperville, you guys all know those neighborhoods. If you impregnate a girl, a woman, and you just like abandon her, that's frowned upon. That is a social stigma in upper middle class white culture.
And it's not in Black culture.
No. In fact, it's glorified by the rap culture.